Yeah, so my name is Brent Penner. I'm from St. David's. I work in accounting at a firm called Deloitte. I've been going to Mountain Park since 2011, April 2011. I would describe my faith when I came to Mountain Park as sort of being lukewarm. Really mean that I was kind of half in, half out of my commitments with the church and sort of trying to balance my professional life with what was going on at church. And I found it to be very challenging. A few months after we had the breakthrough offering, I started to experience some health problems. I started to cough up blood, and I didn't really know what was going on. I went to see a bunch of specialists, and I had a lot of tests done, and the respirologist diagnosed me with stage 2 lung cancer. So after my diagnosis, I felt like I may have gone into almost a bit of a depression. And so it was a struggle for me going through that. It caused me, I think, to focus more on my relationship with God and the feeling that, I had no control over this situation. My wife was pregnant at the time, and so I really struggled with the thought of not making it through this and not getting to meet the baby that my wife was carrying. And I would lie on the couch, and there was a picture of my family on the wall in the direction that I was looking all day. And I was staring at this picture of our family with our kids and thinking about the baby that we're going to be having, and potentially having my kids not remember me was like the saddest feeling that I ever had. Recognizing that God was totally in control of my life at that point, and that was something that I wasn't really used to. So after my diagnosis, there was a Sunday that I wasn't feeling great. I didn't really want to go to church. Physically, my body wasn't feeling up to it, but mentally, I just felt this calling that I had to go. At the end of the service, there was a call to go to the front, and Andrew was asking people who needed prayer, healing, that kind of stuff, to come to the front. I just didn't want the attention. I think some people knew what I was going through at the time, and I just didn't really want the attention. But I felt God tugging on my heart to go, and I ended up just going, kind of letting go of the fear of what other people would think about that. And so I went to the front and just surrendered myself to God in that moment. And Herm came up behind me and laid his hands on me and said a really bold prayer of healing. The surgeon recommended that I go for surgery. And so I went for surgery. The doctor came in and said to me, he said, the surgery went well. He was like, it was one of the hardest surgeries I've ever done because the lung was very inflamed and scarred. And he said, but it didn't look like what I expected. So I was like, oh, okay, what does that mean? And he said, well, it's too early to tell. So we go home, they send all the results off to the lab, and we wait a couple weeks. And then one day I'm sitting at home, and I get the phone rings, and it's the surgeon on the phone. And he said, I never call my patients and tell them the results over the phone, but he's like, do you want me to do that for you? And I said, well, my wife's not home right now. I don't think that I can really process this news on my own if it's bad. And And I was like, you know what? Tell me what it is. And so he told me we couldn't find any cancer in the tumor that we took out in your lung at all. Thinking about the timing of my diagnosis and the sequence of events, and that Sunday that I had Pastor Herm pray a prayer of healing for me, and another friend of mine came to pray with me and anointed me with oil, and sort of the sequence of events, and it seemed like God had healed me. Despite the fact that I didn't feel like I was the most or the strongest person in terms of my faith, that I had prayed for a faith the size of a mustard seed, and I think I got it, and God, I really truly believed that God had healed me. At Mountain Park, we really focus on the importance of listening to the Spirit, especially in times of struggle like what I went through. When your faith is shaken, just really trying to listen and to see how God could possibly be glorified through these difficult situations.